Hi everyone. If you could hear something in the background, that is my dehumidifier in the background. I suggest that everybody gets a dehumidifier. It is a game changer. Okay, especially if you live somewhere that's prone to damp. Let's just say. All right. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I promised you guys, I would make a video. But this is going to be a very lazy video. I'm not going to be putting like much emotional stock in it. And the reason for that is because like the interest that I had in making a video like a few hours before, it doesn't match the enthusiasm now. So I'm just gonna go over why I made this video. One is to talk about, you know, the collective experience of privileged people, you know, the saber rattling and, you know, the provocation and the wanting violence and, you know, just being just dickheads in general, right? So I wanted to talk about that, but I also wanted to briefly touch on some stuff that's been going on with my neighbors. So when it comes to the latter, okay, one of the children from upstairs started screaming at the top of their lungs, because that's what they've been doing like over the past few weeks. Like at some point they start screaming and the idea is that they'll try to get me angry, right? This time it was midnight. It was midnight at night and they started screaming and then they said something indecipherable and then they said, forgive me for anybody who's sensitive to foul language and fat phobia. They said the words fat cunt, right? So they started screaming, said something indecipherable like, oh, we're not scared of you or we'll get you or something, and then fat cunt, right? So I reported it to police. And the thing that actually frustrated me wasn't what the neighbors did, because, you know, the neighbors are going to do what they're going to do. They don't have emotional regulation. They're dickheads hired on the cheap. They're going to do what they're going to do. Where I started to get really frustrated was when I was talking to the police, because they started using patronizing language saying, oh, I know you feel that they're doing this. And I'm like, no, why the fuck would I call you if I only felt like they were doing this to me or I only felt like they were harassing me? They're harassing me. Other neighbors have been talking about it. So why would I call you if they were only feeling this way? That's the first thing. Second thing is, right, there were two people from the police calling me the following morning. The first one was, you know, doing the usual thing of being patronizing, like I said before, saying that, oh, I know you feel this way, but there's not a lot we can do because there's no crime that's been committed. I said, okay. I put this question to them and the amount of fucking, like, not answering the question that they were actually doing was crazy. I said, look, my neighbors are mentally ill. I'm mentally ill. I don't know if they've been diagnosed, but I've been diagnosed paranoid schizophrenic according to mental health, right? Mental health are the ones who diagnosed me with that. So if I start popping the adults of the family because of their behavior, if I start popping them, if me and them come to blows now, right? If I come to blows with the adults in the family, who takes legal responsibility? Now, technically, it would be me because I'm the one who's popping these people, right? Or they're the ones popping me. So we'd be responsible, right? But given that we are both mentally vulnerable, who really takes responsibility? Because you can't decide that we're mentally vulnerable. We're too mentally vulnerable to know whether we're being harassed or not. And yet, in the same breath, say that we're responsible for fucking each other up. You can't say that. So I must have asked this person, this receptionist over the phone, like about 5 times, like, who takes responsibility? Who do I sue? Because I've been calling and making reports and they've been calling and making reports and nothing has been fucking done. If we come to blows, then who do I sue for this? Because I tried to tell everybody that I've been harassed multiple times and nothing's been done. So who the fuck do I sue? I always put that question to them. Who is legally culpable? And after asking and asking and asking and asking, this person over the phone said, I don't know. And I said, okay. I said, oh, you said, okay, I don't know. That's fine. I think at some point I was still, I explained why I was asking who would be legally culpable. I think I was explaining why when this person on the phone that I was talking to passed me over onto a police officer that had actually visited my house because the upstairs neighbor had called them, okay? Now, this was a very different conversation to the first one that we had, because when the first time that we had talked, my upstairs neighbor had called them when I hadn't said anything, hadn't done anything. So now I'm on the phone to this guy, right? And me and him are arguing because I said, who takes legal responsibility? So he, unlike the other person, he actually answered the question and he said, you would be legally responsible because you're the one coming to blows. And then I said, okay, fine. I just want to know who the fuck I blame because I've been calling about the harassment and I've been talking about the harassment and nothing has been done. So I'm glad that there's clarification now. So I asked him, what are the charges if I go to them and start banging on the door or whatever? Or like, knowing me, I'll bust down the fucking door and go up there, right? So I said, what are the charges and what's the maximum sentence? So I wanted to really get a legal understanding of what the consequences are if I do what the fuck needs to be done. So I actually listed the crimes that I would most likely commit in a bid to get this family the fuck off my back, right? So I went through the possible crimes of them that I would most likely commit. What's the maximum sentence? He said, I don't know. But he did talk about the crimes. He talked about like actual bodily harm, grievous bodily harm, assault, that type of stuff, right? So he talked about that. But then he turned around and he said, I would advise that you don't do that. I said, I don't give a fuck what you would advise. I advise you go upstairs and you tell that family, knock it off or we're going to take you in. I advise you stop the harassment. I advise you do your fucking job, but you're not going to do your fucking job. So don't tell me what to do. So it was like, it's like, I've told the police plain. I said, don't tell me what the fuck to do with my mouth, my fist, and my foot. Because you're not going to do anything. So don't tell me what to do. Right? Made it very clear to them. And he said, well, we're not gonna do anything because technically it's not a crime. Harassment is a crime. Harassment is a crime. Even if it's a child doing it. Harassment is still a crime. What the fuck are you talking about? And she said fat cunt. Like that whole family collectively weigh about 79 pounds soaking wet. Who the fuck else could they be talking about? So they've been screaming, deliberately trying to get a reaction, trying to incite violence or like attempted suicide so that they can get me sectioned. That is a fucking crime. And yet you're a police officer on the phone telling me no crime has been committed. As soon as I heard they haven't committed a crime so that we can't do anything, I hung up the phone. I hung up the phone and I got in contact with my landlords. I said, listen, the police ain't doing nothing. So here's what's going to happen. The next time the harassment gets out of control, I'm going to do what I have to do. And I left it there. So my landlords told me that they wanted to have a meeting with me on... Hold on. Sorry about that. Had to. Because the one thing they've taken to do, and they've taken to basically spy on me, like whenever I'm getting too quiet, or whenever I've got my TV show on, they're always spying in order to get something on me. And I'm like, yo, these people are ridiculous. Like, like I've been gang stalked for damn near 2 decades. Like, to my knowledge, this is to my knowledge. Like, I've said it before, I believe I've been gang stalked my entire life. But for the last 1 decade and a bit that I've known about this, they've made a point in trying to get something on me. There is nothing. There is nothing. So why they're spying and why they're trying to interrupt filming, I don't know. But, you know, next time, like, this is what I do. When I hear them interrupting my filming, I keep the fuck quiet. Because at some point they're gonna incriminate themselves. So I keep quiet when they start doing that shit. But again, it's not them that are angering me, it's the police. And like I said before, when I talked about my conversation with that constable, I hung up the phone the second he said they haven't committed any crimes, or, you know, they haven't committed any crimes. Harassment is a crime. I hung up the phone. Okay. And when I talked to my landlord, I said, listen, in not so many words, the police have not done anything, you have not done anything, and mental health have not done anything. If they start harassing me again, I'm going to do what needs to be done. And I left it there. And like, my landlord got back to me, or rather the relocation agent representing the landlord got back to me and said they want to meet me next Tuesday. I said, okay. Fast forward to today. During the day, they've also been spying on me, trying to see if they can get any reaction out of me. And there was one interesting thing that I noted. Well, I'm not going to say interesting. I say interesting very loosely because they're very boring people. So I was like, interestingly, the neighbors started saying that she could do what she wants because we're not scared anyway. Okay, that's cool. That's one in the books. I talked to the landlord. I said, look, these people have said that I can do what I want because they're not scared. So basically I have their blessing and they don't appear to be that concerned with their safety. and then I asked for clarification as to where they wanted me to meet them. Did they want to meet at the flat or do they want to meet at their office? So on top of letting them know these people are running their mouths again, and they're not that concerned for their safety. That's their number one thing that they always use. Oh, she's a big black woman. We're scared for our lives. If you're that scared for your life, shut up. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, I don't understand what the problem is. That's what I would do. Like, I'm the biggest coward you know. If I honestly feel like somebody's overwhelming me, I'm not going to say anything. And I'm not going to rock the boat. I'm just going to leave these people to be stronger than me and let their strength fuck them in the ass. That's what I do when I'm scared. I don't go around talking about what a victim I am after I'm the main one doing the saber rattling. Because I tried to do that shit before. It didn't work for me. So now, I don't go looking for trouble. I stay to myself. I don't cause no problems. Nothing like that, and it still manages to find me. So hear what? From time I know that you're not scared, from time I know you're giving your blessing for me to do what needs to be done, that's how I know you're full of shit and you're not scared at all. And that you're just using your whiteness, your thinness. I was going to say your looks, but ain't none there. You're using your whiteness and your thinness and the fact that your family is young to paint a picture of you being more vulnerable than you actually are. And you seem to think that being cowardly is the same as being vulnerable. It's not the same. You're not vulnerable for the simple reason that you've got racists around here co-signing you. You've got people who believe in your whiteness and your thinness as a natural signifier of superiority. On your side, you are not vulnerable. and you're the main one starting shit, so you're definitely not vulnerable. So now that I know that I have your blessing, and now that everybody knows that you're fake, yeah. Now that everybody knows you're fake, I don't have anything to worry about. Do you understand what I mean? So, yeah. I'm not being funny, but like, why are you saying that shit if you're really that worried? You can't be that fucking scared. Like that scared bit. There's certain things that scared people do. When I'm scared, I run. When I'm scared, I fucking, like, again, I do tend to use people's strengths against them. But when I'm scared, I fucking run and I stay quiet. I run and I stay quiet. I don't traffic people when I'm scared. So you can't be that fucking scared. You can't be that fucking scared. There's no way. So I said that to the landlord. I said, these people gave me their blessing to do what I need to do because they're not scared. Wonderful for me. Oh, shit. Damn, it's a fly. Hang on. Have you noticed in the summer, there's always these little flies hanging around? Or gnats. Ugh. You see, that's what you get when you live in the country. You know, a lot of people think that because, it's about you having a messy house. No. You live anywhere near the country or anywhere near water. Like you get all kinds of creepy crawlies and stuff, even when you clean your house properly. You know what I mean? So yeah, seeing as I'm not scared, told the landlords, and I asked for a clarifier on when they expect the meeting to be. I just got to check my emails. Hang on a sec. I'm trying to check my emails to see. Oh, it's not coming up. I'm trying to check my emails to see if there's been any confirmation, but my emails are playing up. So I'll simply just say this. Everybody knows that out of every single person that I've dealt with down here, I am the only person who's kept her word. I am the only person who's held up her end of the bargain. I am the only one whose words matched her actions. Okay? That incident last year, it was proof that I was willing to do what needed to be done when people were harassing me and getting on my nerves. In fact, that wasn't even the first time that I matched my words with my actions. When the landlords asked me, when the landlord said that, that I can stay on the condition that I don't call the police, it didn't matter how belligerent those motherfuckers got. I didn't call the police. When the police asked me what happened and how I felt about the situation, I let them know the truth at every single opportunity. I'm the only one who's been transparent. I'm the only one who's kept her word. I'm the only one whose word can be trusted in this situation. And there's evidence of that too. There's paperwork. This is what I believe will happen. I believe that the gang stalkers will try to gain back control through the landlords to calm me down or make me see reason or what have you. Like, just buy them enough time to regain control of the situation without making me feel like my time is being wasted. That's what they're going to attempt to do. But if I have this meeting, the second I hear anything that I know I could have heard over the phone, I'm leaving. Because there's no way. There's no way. There's no way. This is why, like, a lot of people say, oh, you're incriminating yourself by saying you're violent. You shouldn't confirm or deny. No, why? When I play the same, I'm the one who's being targeted. I'm the one who's being harassed. I'm the one who's being, you know, who's having reactive abuse exercised against her daily. If I start playing the same game as my abusers, I'm going to lose. I can't play the same game that they play. I can't do the same things that they do. For the simple reason that the consequences that I suffer are going to be different to them. So if the consequences that I suffer for doing the same thing is going to be different to them, why would I engage in the same tactics? It doesn't make any sense. At the same time, I'm about to contradict myself in a few minutes, but like, I'm about to contradict that in a few minutes, but if there's one thing that I know for sure, is that, like, this is one thing that I've learned in gang stalking. Don't deny the gang stalkers what they want. Don't deny them what they want. Give them what they want. But make sure it fucking costs them. If they want a reaction out of you, make sure the reaction is so bad. Make sure it's so big that every single thing that they do, they have to weigh it up first. Because the thing is, the main draw with gang stalking, the main draw with a lot of people with gang stalking, it's that it's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be a game. It's supposed to be a laugh to see somebody being tortured and agitated and humiliated and scared because of you. It's supposed to be fun, right? Take the fucking fun out of it. Take the fun out of it. Give them what they want. Just make sure that when they get it, they're in their own personal hell. That's the reason why I can say fat cunt and not feel any emotional reaction. It's the reason why I can say the N-word. I'm not going to say it here because I don't want to be flagged. It's the reason I can say the N-word and it doesn't have the same effect on me anymore. It's the reason I can say all kinds of slurs. It's the reason I can say mad girl or mad woman and it doesn't have the same effect as it used to. Because those things that people used as their strength, now their own strength has turned on them. Their own strength has turned on them. You've got to give them what they want. Give them what they want. Just make sure that it fucking hurts. Make sure that it hurts. Another thing that has to be really highlighted here is that with gang stalking, shame is their currency. Shame is their currency. The reason why this world is the way it is because there is a culture of shame that attacks people's sense of self. They want you to feel ashamed of your hair. They want you to feel ashamed of your body. They want you to feel ashamed of your skin color. They want you to feel ashamed of your sexuality. They want you to feel ashamed of what's between your legs. These children up here like to talk about my privates a lot. They want to dehumanize you. They want to make you feel like you're nothing. They want you to feel not at home in your own body, not at home in your own spirit. Shame is currency. Shame powers gang stalking. Without shame, there's nothing to weaponize. Without shame, they can't weaponize anything about you. Without shame, there aren't countless industries talking about if you were faker, you'd be better. It's all powered by shame. On top of trying to influence your behavior through hypnotic means, that's another reason why they imitate you. That's another reason why they talk in code or they talk with street theatre. It's a way to try to embarrass you. It's a way to try to embarrass you. And this is the thing. This is where I'm going to get into the cross section between being a TI and being a marginalized person. This is where I'm about to intersect. If this world cannot make you ashamed of yourself, then it will find ways to villainize you in the eyes of other people. Make sure you are a representation of everything that more privileged people do not want to be. And that's where the violence comes in. That's where the provocation comes in. That's where the reactive abuse comes in. All the reactive abuse that I'm going through as a targeted individual, Black people, women, the queer community, trans community, that's what everybody else is going through en masse. That sort of, if you're going to withdraw and you're not going to pay us any attention, then we're going to continue to provoke you, continue to provoke you, continue to provoke you until you react. And if you don't, if you don't react and we can't make you feel ashamed of yourselves, then we're going to stoke up anger against you. That is always the gangstalker's play. That's always the white patriarchal supremacist play. Use shame and use fear. If they can't make you ashamed, then they will make you afraid. That's another reason why the gangstalkers are having a problem with me. It's because the shame isn't working as well as it used to. And what's really fucking them up is that I don't appear to be scared at all. There have been multiple attempts by other stalkers around here, apart from these people. These people are not the only ones. There are other gang stalkers around here. There have been attempts by other gang stalking patsies to try to make me afraid, try to make me intimidated. That's not working. I'm supposed to be scared of being sectioned. I'm not. In fact, yeah, I've got to be real with you. Sectioning isn't a picnic, but what I've noticed is that when I go through certain things, I get more eyes on me. I get more eyes on me. And if I get more eyes on me, I'll get more eyes on my cause. So as much as I don't want to be sectioned, I'm not scared of that either. Right? Not scared of that. They don't know what to do. I'm not scared of the police. I'm even less scared of the police than I am of my gang stalkers. And the police have more power. Mental health have infinitely more power than the police and the gang stalkers combined. I'm especially not scared of them. They piss me off, sure, but I'm not scared of them. That's the thing that's really fucking up the gang stalkers. Because you mean to tell me, like, this program is built on a currency of shame and fear. You mean to tell me you're neither? And even when we do get you feeling ashamed and we do get you feeling fearful, you will turn the whole weight of what we did back on us? They don't know what to do. That's why the child upstairs has been screaming. That's why, there's all kinds of, oh, maybe if we attack this thing, then it will make her hurt more. Maybe if we attack this thing, it will make her hurt more. Maybe if you attack her weight, it will make her hurt more. You know what I mean? It's all about shame and fear. And if they can't make you feel those things, that's when the violence comes. That's when the violence comes. And as you get older, as a targeted individual, you start to feel that shame and fear less. With age comes a certain amount of self-acceptance and self-awareness that you don't have when you're young. So the gang stalking, the street theatre and the mimicry and all that type of stuff, it just looks pathetic to you. And that's when more physical aspects of the targeting comes in. Because again, if they can't make you feel ashamed very young, if they can't make you afraid very young, if they can't make you ashamed young, middle age, then they will resort to violence at your most physically vulnerable, especially at your most physically vulnerable, I should say. Violence is, you know, the use of violence is not dependent on how weak a person is, rather how strong a person is emotionally or how stoic. So that's the intersection between my experience as a TI and marginalized people as a whole. We're withdrawing. We're going inwards. We're focusing on ourselves. You know, we're questioning things. We're really doing some heavy introspection. We're leaning on each other in ways that we haven't done before. We're doing the work that needs to be done in order to make ourselves better people. And because of that, we're evolving far faster than our gangstalkers are. Far faster than people in privileged positions. Because if you're in a privileged position, you don't have to learn. And if you don't have to learn, then why would you? Unless it was something that you were really interested in. So what that's creating is a gap in coping mechanisms, a wider gap in coping mechanisms. The one side, you know, uses the one side turns shame and fear in on itself and becomes so resilient and so resourceful they don't need the same people hoarding all the resources and all the social connections. It's to such a level where they don't need the other side. And then there's the other side who rely on shame, fear, and violence in order to maintain hegemony. There's a wider gap in coping mechanisms because the most privileged people in the world are the ones who externalize. So there's a real gap in coping mechanisms going on here. You know, and because there's that gap, it's likely that the violence from the privileged side and the violence from the gangstalkers will get worse, because that's what always happens. That's what always happens. You know, and this is where I stop talking about being a targeted individual and I start talking about being a marginalized person. I'm seeing all this discourse online about, you know, the male loneliness epidemic and, you know, and how there was this one really fucking stupid video, right, that said that the people, you know, that were alongside Christopher Columbus were incels. Like, all the worst colonial people, all the worst colonizers were apparently incels. And I'm thinking, what the fuck are you even talking about? These are the same people who said that feminism created like a male incel population. And yet in the same breath, you're saying that at a time where women of all colors were at their most subjugated, where men could have their pick of subjugated women, have their pick of trafficking victims, they're incels there too. What the fuck are you talking about? But anyway, let me get to the point. Male loneliness epidemic. So basically, through the male loneliness epidemic, women are being threatened with violence. Through black people resting and white people acting, well, not white people, white racists, acting like black people and the left are deliberately being violent. No, we're not. No, we're not. It's the same way these neighbors here are trying to act like my silence is violence. It's not. It's just me being silent. I said I was going to stop talking about myself, but I can't help it. Like, the parallels are crazy. It's the same way that, you know, the same way that women are being threatened, low-key threatened with violence through these colonial examples. Like, if you don't stop being introspective, if you don't stop looking after yourselves and protecting your boundaries, we're going to come after you violently. It's the same way when black people are resting and white racists or non-black racists try everything in their power to get a reaction out of us. It's basically the use of fear, shame, and violence. they're saying, like, if you don't take notice of us, if you don't give us the attention that we're looking for, if you don't, there's no inner reflection. What am I doing? How can I make things better? No, there's no introspection. It's all about, we want you to be our therapist. We want you to be subjugated so that we can feel like we're in control. Because the entire identity around privileged people and around gangstalkers is, once again, the ability to subjugate someone else. White patriarchal supremacy in a nutshell. And this is my point. How long are we going to keep relying on the same coping mechanisms before we wake up to the fact that violence is next? Women are already having their rights rolled back as a result of, you know, us being withdrawn and us wanting nothing to do with men who don't value us. No fault divorce is being attacked in the Western world as well. There have been talks about removing no fault divorce, rolling abortion rights back because women are withdrawing. There's already been talk of that. In America right now, there is a dead woman being kept alive, like she's being used as an incubator for the baby in her womb. Right now. And whilst all of this is going on, we're all sitting around having discourses, sneering at the far right, sneering at men. At what point does the sneering stop and we start actually preparing for the consequences? Because this is a major flaw within people who internalize, or within people who are forced to internalize. This is the major flaw. The major flaw is, we accept the consequences and we don't prepare for them. One thing I will give credit for when it comes to the gang stalkers, when it comes to more privileged people than us, the one fucking thing they know how to do is they know how to prepare for the consequences of their actions so they don't have to suffer the consequences of their actions. Not immediately anyway. They prepare for the consequences of their actions so they don't have to suffer them. That's what we fucking need to be doing. We are too keen to sit back and be introspective and not defend ourselves. Or not defend ourselves against the consequences of, defending ourselves, or the consequences of standing in our square, or the consequences of not giving in to shame, fear, and violence. There are consequences to that. Just like there, we like to think that, there are consequences for doing the wrong thing. There's consequences for doing everything. There are consequences for doing the wrong thing, and there are consequences for doing the right thing. But the wrongdoers know there are consequences for their actions, and they're prepared for that. Which is why they don't suffer them. Every single action that they do, every single move that they make, they are preparing for eventualities, because they're used to fucking throwing the first shot. They're used to engaging reactive abuse. They're used to not learning. They're used to being lonely. They're used to not being respected. So what do? They prepare for it. We don't prepare for shit. All we do is sit here and sneer at the other side for being stupid and reactionary. But hear what? They're in power and we're not. And we can go ahead and split hairs and talk about, people who look like me being in politics, people who, like Kemi Adenoc in the Tory party. I hope I got her name right. Jasmine Crockett. I like Jasmine Crockett. Even though she's US, she's got nothing to do with me technically. I like her. I like Jasmine Crockett. So because we've got people like Michelle Obama, Jasmine Crockett, Kemi Adenoc, We've got Dawn Butler. Dawn Butler's another one that I like. Because we've got seemingly powerful people. Oh, Diane Abbott, definitely shout her out. So, because we've got people in powerful positions who look like black folk, who look like queer folk, who look like progressive folk, who come from working class backgrounds, because we've got these people in power, because we've got the respectability politics down, once again, that shame and fear has been weaponized against us. Because we've won the respectability game, we're thinking that we don't need to do anything else. All we're doing is resting. We don't need to do anything else. No. We need to stop resting in this moral superiority. We need to stop acting like there are not consequences for doing the right thing. There are always consequences for doing the right thing. And what I've learned is to not accept the consequences, but to prepare for the consequences, because it's something that you have to do. You've got to prepare for the consequences and not accept them. That's what my villains stay fucking doing. It's how they're able to destroy the world and not be challenged. It's how my gangstalkers are able to get people killed. To be involved in gangstalking that gets people killed, that is raping people, that is putting people under surveillance unlawfully. They're able to continue to get away with that shit because they prepare for the consequences. We are not preparing for the consequences like that. How the fuck are you going to tell me that, men are so violent, men are this, men are that, like, and you're not preparing for it? How the fuck are you going to turn around and say all the right things, speak truth to power, and you're not going to be prepared for when that power challenges you? If all you're going to do is sneer at people who don't think like you, if all you're going to do is sneer, then don't bother talk. And TIs, I need you to learn this now. I know the TIs that follow me. I know you got sense. Just because we're on the right side of history, and just because we are trying to save people, just because we are doing the right thing, it does not mean the right thing that we do does not have consequences. It has consequences. And we must prepare for them in our own ways. In our own ways. And that's where I can come in, right? But we must prepare for the consequences. We have to prepare for their violence. We have to prepare for what happens when resistance is, when our internal resistance makes us immovable objects. We have to prepare for when these people become unstoppable forces, because unstoppable forces will beat immovable objects every single time. White patriarchal supremacy is not an immovable object. It is an unstoppable force. We have to make sure that an unstoppable force plows into the wrong object. We must prepare for the consequences and use their strength against them. That's what they do with us. Those are the core tenets of what they do that we need to adopt. Using our strength against us, we need to use their strength against them. And we need to make sure that we prepare for the consequences of our actions. Especially if we're doing what's right. Because I'm going to be real with you, right? I talk a lot of shit on this fucking, on this fucking app and on YouTube. I have a lot of braggadocious qualities about me. It's not something that I regret. It's something that I'm actually not ashamed of at all. The braggadociousness has saved my life. But I've got to be real with all of you. There are children who have been killed already. There are children who have been gangstalked. There are children who have been marked from birth. There are fetuses being mutated in the womb because their parents are TIs. There are children being chipped. There are marginalized communities being torn asunder from the inside. This is not just about us. This is not just about us. That's why it's so important. Because this is not just about us. Privileged of this world, the abusers of this world, they get to be selfish. We don't. We don't get to. The only reason I stay to myself and the only reason I save myself is because that is literally the only thing that I can do. It's the only thing that works. If it wasn't the only thing that worked, I'd be out there on the field. I'd be out there at protests. Me and Black Brighton Market would still be talking. Me and Black Brighton would still be talking. I'd still be engaged with Stop the War. If it wasn't a case where me focusing on myself was the best way forward for everyone, me saving myself was the best way forward for other people like me, there'd be a lot of communities that I'd still be a part of now, but it doesn't work like that. It does not work like that, unfortunately. So yeah, to recap, the core tenets of the perpetrators in this society that we need to learn from, the core tenets. Prepare for the consequences. Do not accept them. Do not accept them. And you use the strength of the people who abuse you against them. Don't try to stop an unstoppable force. Send it to the wrong target. And watch it destroy itself. And that's all I've got to say for now. So I'm going to end it here. I hope everything that I said made sense to you. But everything that I've said in this video is vague for a reason. It's because I can't tell you exactly how. Every single TI or marginalized person has their own special way of fighting, their own special way of strategy. I can't be the one to tell you what that is, because everybody's got their own way of embracing those core tenets. That's up to you. I mean, I can help you with that. I'm an astrologer. And I am a tarot card reader. Well, the tarot, not so much, but the astrology, I can help you out with that, but I'm not accepting private readings for the moment. But that's where somebody like me can be helpful, because I know the best strategy for you. But yeah, boils down to that. So anyway, I'm going to head off. I'm going to enjoy relaxing, you know, because when you're dealing with gang stalkers all day, you've got to de-stress, you know, you've got to decompress, you've got to relax. I don't know. Hold on. If you've seen Stressed Eric, right? Stressed Eric is a jam. Stressed Eric is my jam, man. And that doctor, that's fucking sociopathic doctor's funny as hell, but he always says, relax. You got to. You got to. Yeah? Anyway, I've got to go. Peace and blessings. I love you guys so much, my fellow TIs. Let me know in the comments how you guys are doing. I always want to hear from you. But yeah, that's me right there. I love you guys. Bye-bye, my darlings.